Government presents tight budget. 400 million kina for polls. And funding levels to provinces to continue.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and welcome to Tuesday's news. The PNG government has tried to present an optimistic outlook in the 2017 budget as it contends with uncertain global economic conditions, depressed oil prices and the weakening of the kina against the US and Australian dollars. Domestically, Papua New Guineans can expect increases in the price of food, transportation and building materials. Alcohol and tobacco consumers will also be hit with increases. Health, education, provinces and infrastructure remain the biggest components of spending. However, spending in those areas remain below the amount spent on paying back loans. Two biggest expenditure items is expected are APEC and the elections. This year's budget is set at 12.9 billion kina.
The Treasury Secretary said this morning in the budget lockup they were confident going forward amidst the slow economic growth in the global economy. While the International Monetary Fund is projecting nominal growth of 3.1% in the global economy, the impacts won't be felt until much later.
So the cuts are targeted at all of these unnecessary, non-essential services that have become a part of the culture of Papua New Guinea public service over the last 10 years.
The uncertainty presented is reflected in the many areas domestically. While the growth in the non-mining sector is projected to grow, that growth will be less than what was initially projected. And there have been cuts based on the 2016 supplementary budget figures. Total spending on health in 2017 is 1.2 billion kina. It represents 9.2% of the total budget. It looks big, but there's been a 20% cut in health from the supplementary budget figures. In education, 1.16 billion. There's also a reduction of 7.4%. But the government says it's maintaining the 602 million kina tuition fee-free funds.
The economic sector, which entails the strategic assets, has been the only sector with significant introduction of new projects in the 2016 budget. With regards to funding new projects in the sector, the government aims to improve income sources for small-scale farmers.
Provincial and district spending remains a key priority area. However, the Treasury Secretary has pointed out cash flow will continue to remain a problem for this government. The three significant areas of spending this year will be paying off loans, 1.3 billion kina, elections, 400 million, and APEC, 250 million. Scott Wide, National EMTV News.
400 million kina has been allocated for the 2017 general elections. This is a significant but expected increase in funding the start of elections in less than 6 months. Chief Electoral Commissioner Patilius Gamato says he is confident that the budget will serve its purpose.
A happy electoral commissioner is confident that this will ensure successful elections next year.
The election administration, most cost of the election administration goes towards the allowances of the temporary election workers who are engaged to work for the election. We will engage about 30,000 public servants across the country. That's returning officers, assistant returning officers, polling officials, counting officials, and all host of temporary election workers that we engage to assist the Electoral Commission to conduct the election.
As announced by Treasury Secretary, 121 million kina of the 400 million kina funding is allocated for security purposes, while the rest is for the administration of the elections.
The expenditure would be mostly the election administration. I'm saying this because parts of Papua New Guinea, especially in the coastal and islands region, you don't have a lot of security threats. It's just mostly the urban areas plus the islands provinces. And so the police should be focusing on urban areas and islands provinces to manage security. So our priority and our focus should be on election administration.
An additional 30 million kina has also been promised this month to the Electoral Commission. This will be used to purchase what the Electoral Commissioner says are big-ticket items such as ballot boxes and printing of ballot papers.
The preparation for next day is mostly working on the polling schedules. The government has approved some new wards. So those are the ones that we'll bring them into our polling schedules and start planning where we will place the polling stations to conduct the election.
As of July this year, the Electoral Commission received an actual total of 46.8 million kina to cover election operations, recurrent costs, and by-elections in Samarai Murua, South Bougainville, and Kandap. As a priority for next year, the general elections will be one of the first sectors to receive funding once revenue starts rolling in.
I think that will be priority for us in terms of looking at the revenue inflows January, February of next year. The focus of that giving out to agencies will be on health education and the election itself.
Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
The Electoral Commissioner announced today that the national and local level government elections will be conducted separately next year. This is the result of a recent NEC decision. This now demands that a legislative change needs to be made to the organic law to accommodate this decision.
Up until last week, the Electoral Commissioner was confident that the elections would follow the organic law, which dictates that both elections are conducted concurrently.
I said it because it's law. The law says the election must be conducted concurrently.
The First Legislative Council will now work on the proposed changes for readings early next year.
And we're hoping that it can go to Parliament next year, in January and in March, for two separate readings for the change of organic law.
The Electoral Commissioner was not able to confirm the reasons behind this decision. However, he said the likely changes to the election dates next year will occur at the return of writs, which was initially planned for August 7th, 2017. Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
Police housing and the modernization program have featured prominently in the 2017 national budget, with the government expected to spend 1.1 billion kina in total on the law and justice sector. This is a decrease of 116,000 kina from the money it received last year. Targeted areas also include the redevelopment of the Waigani Court Complex and Defence Force infrastructure.
The law and justice sector has received the fifth largest share of the 2017 national budget. This money will be divided amongst the Police Department, Judicial Services and the PNG Defence Force. Police Modernization Program was allocated 17 million kina. Judicial Services received 80 million kina for the Waigani Court Complex building, while 5 million kina was given to the PNG Defence Force for infrastructure development. For 2016, the sector was given 1.2 billion kina. From that money, the police department invested in police accommodation and the training of recruits. The judicial services had invested in the building complex at the Waigani Courthouse. The areas where the money will be spent in 2017 are the same areas where the government had spent money this year. Though the correctional services comes under the law and justice sector, not much funding was given to the department last year. Thakla Gunga, National EMTV News.
The national government is maintaining the level of funding to the provinces. The PSIP, DSIP and LLG SIP funding takes up a significant portion of the 2017 budget. Treasury Secretary Dari Vela says these are key areas that the government is focused on to build capacity. Eric Harupma reports.
In the 2016 budget.
Given the budget cuts in all sectors, funding from PSIP, DSIP and Ward SIP looks optimistic. The provinces received 3,605.7 million kina, or 28%, which is the largest share of the total budget.
Capital expenditure funding to subnational government includes 10 million kina per province in direct funding through the Provincial Services Improvement Program, 10 million kina per district under the District Services Improvement Program, and 100,000 kina per LLG government under the Local Level Government Services Improvement Program. An additional 10,000 kina is allocated to each ward with the removal of fixed sector allocations.
Major appropriations include PSIP 220 million kina, DSIP 890 million kina, LLG SIP 32.2 million kina, and Ward 61.8 million kina. Treasurer Veles says the DSIP grants are for infrastructure development in 89 districts in the country. But at times, these funds are not being allocated right down to the ward levels.
It's a wonder when you look at some of the wards whether 10,000 kina is going to make a lot of difference or not. I think really what it is it's a swift response to the complaint that money gets stuck at the province and district level and doesn't trickle down to the people on the ground.
The ward SIP was specifically initiated for capacity building and funding ward councillors' allowances.
As you know, over the last 4 years, we've started a program to pay our ward councillors. I mean, these poor people have been, working for 13 years without getting paid, and it takes mental fortitude to commit to your people like that.
Eric Arupma, National EMTV News.
Plans for a huge cattle industry in the Sepik Plains, new rice product launched, and Nest Fund Savings and Loans goes online with new and improved services. Those stories after the break. Stay with us. Back. Feasibility studies are being conducted on the possibility of a huge cattle industry in the Sepik Plains. Investors were in the East Sepik province over the weekend to make assessments. If successful, the project will be built up over 10 years with 100,000 cattle heads and potentially making PNG the cattle capital of the Pacific.
There is interest to establish a massive cattle industry in the vast grasslands of the Sepik Plains. The potential investors from Australia were shown around the proposed project area and were given an aerial view of the plains. David Galvin, chairman of Live Corp, said there was a huge potential for a cattle industry and careful planning was essential.
So we come here as a professional group of people to help the minister to develop Lambla Yupla. That is what we are here for. So our job is to go and look at the numbers, look at the soil, look at the grasses, to see how many cattle can run here. And there's a possibility, if you look across the whole of the Sepik Plains, put together, is a possibility of, let's say, 100,000 head of cattle.
Mr. Galvin said support and participation of landowners will be crucial as many jobs will be created.
Can Mipla help Yupla to develop this land, for Yupla to get jobs, get income, get a better life and electricity? For it has to be a two-way thing. It can't be a one-way thing because the cattle industry relies on labour, and probably across the whole thing there will be 1,000 jobs created.
Minister for Trade, Commerce and Industry and member for Yanguru Sausia, Richard Maru, told locals that the government is encouraging landowners to become active participants.
So that you papa ground you will entitle you can decide. You like joint venture want to invest out. You like renting tasol ground now can buy lease come you. Empower alhamdulillah. You give him ground you go there and you kill him future not beginning blue.
Mr. Galvin said the team is looking forward to doing proper scoping and planning. Deli Waigeno, National EMTV News.
In the meantime, Minister for Trade, Commerce and Industry Richard Maru told locals from a section of the Sepik Plains that the Special Economic Zone will bring services and infrastructure that have been non-existent. One such infrastructure is road. The locals have witnessed this with the first road ever from Kiniambo to Kamatogu under construction in the East Yanguru part of the Sepik Plains.
The 13-kilometer Kiniambo to Kamatogu road is the first to be built in the area. For the 8 surrounding villages and a population of less than 1,000, the road has been a long time coming. The road is still under construction and is being built at a cost of 1.4 million kina.
1.4 million. You've like some people money blow government of this time. You know money blow young South district and money blow Wagani come down. Because people are talking government of self. My black civil investor come now, people may utilize Kurena, people by come up with some big project will help the country too. Those lot talk the Prime Minister believe now, the land believe now, or give me money now.
Before the road, traveling on foot for hours and even days to the nearest services was the norm. But with the special economic zone coming up, the locals are now seeing infrastructure and services for the first time.
We saw you stop for a long time. Papa, to finish, Papa finish now, beginning will come up and stop. Now beginning again come up and stop. So now people are national government, people are focused long. Kira more and more call civic economic zone. Now you mean mask people are project civic plane now by you mean kind of road na power na services na. Finally by you more and civic plane.
The Kiniambo to Kamatogu Road is expected to be completed by the end of the year. The community is also expected to have classrooms and water services in place as work continues on the special economic zone. Deli Waigeno, National EMTV News.
Goodman Fielder International launched its new brand of rice called Scale Rice in Leh yesterday. The rice comes in a 10 kg bag, a 500 gram and a 200 gram packet that cost 1 kina. The rice brand is now sold in shops in the city. It is packed and imported from Vietnam. Julie Badui Oa with this report.
The staff of Goodman Fielder Leh took the chance to taste the new brand of rice called Scale Rice during the lunch break yesterday. Scale Rice is one of Goodman Fielder's latest product brands, apart from Flame Flour, Meadow Lee and Twisty's product brands. Goodman Fielder International General Manager John Michel Lejeune, who has been in the country for 2 years, says the brand will also be launched in the Highlands region.
A lot of success already in Port Moresby, where we've launched it, and today as we're speaking we're busy launching in Momase, and we're launching in Goroka and in Highlands.
The brand Scale is derived from Tok Pisin and means awesome rice in English. The medium grain rice is grown in Thailand and Vietnam. It is currently imported and packed in Vietnam. It comes in different packages, including the newly launched 200 gram pack that costs 1 kina, or wasa as expressed in pidgin language, and once cooked is enough to feed 2 people.
Scale brand comes in a 200 gram, it comes in a 500 gram, it comes in a 1 kilo, and it comes in a 10 kilo. And what's wonderful about the 10 kilo, it has a handle on it to carry.
Legend says the rice was introduced in early this year by Goodman Fielder, following 750 consumer taste around the country.
So when we talk about grown for the people in PNG, what we're actually saying is that we've actually found the right taste of this product in the medium grain that we know that the PNG people will love.
Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Leh.
Naknasi Coffee Growers Cooperative from Boana in the Morbe province have begun piling their coffee bags for export at Swire Shipping's bulking facility. After nearly 7 years, the People's Cooperative will be directly exporting a container to a buyer in Melbourne in 2 weeks. Naknasi Chairman Mong Bungun says it is a milestone for the people who were awarded an export license. Bethany Herriman with this report.
This morning, the Naknasi coffee bags were brought into the Swire bulking facility. It is a significant moment for a cooperative that has come very far since it was formed in 2008. Mong Bungung, a teacher by profession, was part of that success story. Today, they bring coffee bags to fill a container leaving for Melbourne in 2 weeks' time.
Something I'm right now, Miamas. So na tu mi tok thank you long nikni tis spike. Mr. Vantemem na mo long export the coffee blomi. Now me like try first container long, anini long license export license blomi where Coffee Industry Corporation belum Papua New Guinea bin PCCM 100 reserve license belum Papua New Guinea tasol mi bela ino utilize him na nek nasi mi bela first alwan mi kisin na mi amas long Coffee Industry Corporation.
Morobe is contributing roughly 30,000 coffee bags for export. The Swire coffee bulking facility houses much of those bags.
And it involves a lot of people back from the village. So everyone's involved. We're happy to be part of that and help export their coffee to their destinations of their choice.
Swire coffee bulking manager Anthony Klink says the company is willing to support more local cooperatives.
The coffee cooperative was born in 2008 when parents came together to raise money for their children's school fees. Today, the Neknasi Coffee Growers Cooperative has become renowned for its contributions to coffee exports coming out from the Morobe province. But this story is significant because it shows people coming together to empower themselves, use their land to put money directly into their pockets. And they did this by not relying on a politician or public funds to start up.
Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Lei.
Nasfund Contributors Savings and Loan Society Limited went online today with a new and improved banking system called Save Loan Smart. The introduction of the savings and loan management system is a milestone for the NCSL in the sense that it is another step closer to achieving its vision to become a one-stop shop bank for its customers.
The Save Loan Smart is an improvement from the old Savings and Loans Operating System, otherwise known as SALS. According to NCSL General Manager Vari Lahui, the operating system is widely used in the Pacific and has been tailor-made to suit PNG's banking environment.
We would have direct interface through the member portal and the employer portal. So there would be instantaneous responses via those portals, which would make the response and turnaround times on the applications much quicker than we've had experienced previously.
This simply means that the processing of loan applications lodged by members of NCSL can be done faster. As of today, existing members can now register online to view their account balances, loan eligibility, and even apply for loans. The fee structures for transactions, he said, remain unchanged. Save Loan Smart has been customized to fit multiple device screens, from desktops to smartphones and tablets. Its system is built on the latest Microsoft MVC platforms called .NET Core, and the database is served by the latest Microsoft SQL Server engine, giving it an edge over the old system in terms of speed. Save Loan Smart was developed by Cloud App Laboratories, a joint venture company between NCSL and Fiji-based software development company Software Factory Limited.
And that's part of the setup here, which would enable cloud apps to support all the software solutions that would be provided. It is a PNG incorporated company, and they would be on the ground providing all the necessary support.
As part of the signed agreement, NCSL recruited 2 newly graduated computer scientists from the University of Papua New Guinea and the University of Technology, who underwent 6 months of intense training in Fiji to support the new banking system. Melissa Goviro, National EMTV News.
And now looking at our finance news, the kina closed unchanged at $0.3155 in the interbank markets. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3080, $0.4017 Australian dollars, €0.2776 euro, and 31.91 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold and copper closed higher, while coffee and cocoa closed the day lower. Palm oil closed lower, while crude oil and copper closed the day higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 29.65 points lower, the ASX is trading at 27.23 points lower, and the All Ordinaries is trading at 27.24 points lower as well. When we come back, PNG Power upgrades electricity grid in East New Britain. Chuave MP assists local church damaged by fallen tree, and preparations underway for the Kenu Kundu Festival. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. PNG Power in East New Britain Province has begun work to upgrade its electricity grid and the hydropower station at Warangoi. East New Britain Governor Erman Tobining Jr. says that his provincial government is funding the upgrade to meet electricity demands as Kokopo changes from a town into a city. A series of power outages in various parts of the province has indicated the start of work, the governor says.
In the last 3 years, East New Britain Province has seen a significant growth in business activities in the province. Roads have been upgraded, new buildings are soaring high in town, and more people are coming to live here. But new business activities and more people means more electricity will be needed in this growing town. The East New Britain Governor, Erman Tobining Jr. has given indications that the need for more electricity in the province is not going to go unnoticed.
And of course, because of the declaration of Kokopo City as the fourth city in Papua New Guinea, and we will be expecting more infrastructure building, and the more infrastructure that we accept, we need to increase the capacity of the power so that we can meet the demand.
Apart from the town, East New Britain provincial government has also embarked on delivering electricity to its rural people using the main electricity grid. The concept comes through its rural electrification program that seeks to improve the lives of people in the remote areas in the province, and that has been a continuous success story since 2013. The East New Britain provincial government has also noted that electricity going to the rural areas will be maintained as the town grows.
There are ongoing negotiation, and of course 7 days ago we did sign an MOU between PNG Power, Lenape Group of companies in America, and of course the provincial administration, Kokopo District and Bita Paka, for building up, constructing a 20 megawatts that can supply the whole province, which it can be hooked up into the main grid of PNG Power.
While businesses are poised to expand, the East New Britain provincial government wants to make sure that the province doesn't follow the same path as Lae and Port Moresby, where power outages is a daily occurrence. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
A Lutheran church established in a remote part of Chuave in 1968 was extensively damaged by a fallen tree last month. When this disaster struck, no one was in the church, but the congregation members, especially the mothers, felt devastated and shed tears. Their prayers were answered last weekend when they received a 20,000 kina donation from their local MP to rebuild the church.
For several weeks, the congregation got together and they prayed fervently for God to help them rebuild the roof and wall damaged by the fallen tree. On Saturday, the church members were pleasantly surprised when their MP Weramori drove up to the church site and asked them to show him the damaged church. After a brief inspection, he forked out 20,000 kina from his pocket and gave it to them. They screamed in excitement and the women wept tears of joy. The local pastor said, "We prayed to God and our prayers were answered."
And pray na bel na tintin we mibla cry gulong God na yubla kamya mosem answer blos la pray mibla meki longen yubla kam so mi welcome yubla ogeta long itla community blomi insalo mainamo.
It is a demonstration of my appreciation of the services that has been provided by the church to my people of Chuave, and that it is only fair that as their elected member, I must be of relevance to them on this very occasion when they are now in the process of repairing the damage caused by this disaster.
When told that the workmen were also working on completing the pastor's house, Mr. Mori said he would join the workmen because he wanted to see God's servants living in a decent home. He told the elated villagers that he would come back to the village with his wife and children to donate cooking utensils and other stuff for the pastor's family. Mr. Morris said he heard of the disaster and was disheartened because the Lutheran mission was first established here before branching out to other areas of Chihuahua and Simbu province. Melissa Gaviro, National EMTV News.
A local church in Leh is frustrated over a piece of land at Eriku after another church organization went to the area and demolished new fences that the first church had erected. Yesterday, members of the International Christian Fellowship Church were not happy after finding out that the fences that were erected around the piece of land were completely destroyed by another church party.
At around 10 a.m. yesterday, members of the International Christian Fellowship Church discovered that these fences were taken down by the other church party. This triggered a scene where the church group vented their frustration at the other party for demolishing the fences without warning.
Lain belum oli sana backside finish oli frustrated na deslo tok emi big lot mas na embai up and now embai mibla igatintin law go through long highest court of the land namba mibla settling this land.
According to this letter from the Department of Lands and Physical Planning, this portion of land, Section 291, Allotment 14, is under investigation, as given that the International Christian Fellowship Church and the Revival Centers of PNG are fighting over the land ownership. The letter further states that the International Christian Fellowship Church can occupy the parcel of land until the investigation is fully completed. Based on the letter, the land information records indicate that the International Christian Fellowship Church has occupied and have developed this land since 2007 and should continue developing the land until further notice. On the other hand, the MS Wagambi lawyers acting on behalf of the Revival Centers of PNG has served a notice dated 23 July 2016 to the International Christian Fellowship Church to remove illegal fencing on the piece of land. The notice outlined that the Revival Centers of PNG as the legal and proper title over the land described as Allotment 14, Section 291 at Eriku. The land title was given to the Revival Centers of PNG by the Lands Board. According to the notice served on them, they were instructed to pull down the fence that was erected within 7 days of the notice being served.
They asked us to follow the normal process, that we applied for a permit, and the permit was granted to us. And then we went in there, we started cleaning, and the process is stated clear in the permit. The permit does not allow a certain person or someone to go in and put a permanent structure like what our other group did.
But the lawyer representing Revival Center of PNG says the church has proper legal title over the land given by the Lands Board. Thus, the decision of the Lands Board overrides the letter written by the Department of Lands and Physical Planning. Mata Luis, National EMTV News, Leh.
I thank Air New Guinea for providing the necessities to me and my family. This was the message from the airline's longest-serving employee, Peter Pokowas, when asked what his achievements were while serving the airline. Pokowas has become one of the longest-serving employees, clocking 40 years of loyalty service. Fabian Hakalitz visited Pokowas at his home in Kavieng.
Honest, loyalty, and committed.
In Air New Guinea's history books, Peter Pokowas may be the longest-serving employee for Papua New Guinea's national airline, clocking 40 years since day one of his employment in 1976. However, his formal employment with the aviation industry began in 1973 with Ansett Australia and Trans-Australia Airlines, TAA, recording 43 years. A character of his own, yet simple, humble and cheerful, from Drano village in Manus province. He worked as a traffic officer in the Flight Operations Department and later held some managerial positions and keeps a good record of the string of events that occurred during his time.
First transport minister at that time was Bruce Chepcott, and then Mbaka Yokok, and then followed by, in between, other ministers, right through to current transport minister.
Pokoas has thanked Air Niugini for providing for him and his family since day one of his employment.
I'm more than happy that the company itself, Air Niugini, has looked after me very well, my family, in terms of the welfare.
What Pokoas wants to see is for the national airline to be PNG oriented and move forward as it has grown from strength to strength.
See them to progress, move forward, that's what they say, and create job opportunities to young people coming in and make money.
Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
Preparations are underway for the 2016 Kenukundu Festival in Alotau, Milne Bay Province. Despite the cold, patchy rain weather over Sanderson Bay, groundwork is progressing. Almost all stalls have been completed, with a few going through final touches. This year's show will feature the province's iconic war canoes and the traditional carved kundu of Milne Bay. The festival will be held from this Friday and Saturday. The festival will also coincide with Air Niugini's inaugural direct flight from Australia to Gurney. Chukai Sports is next. PNG cricket umpires selected to officiate at the ICC World Cricket League in Los Angeles. Details after the break.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome to Chukai Sports. Cricket PNG has seen a lot of positive outcomes this year. Apart from their successful encounters with Kenya and Namibia, PNG umpires are also gaining international recognition. Lakani Oala and Alu Kapa left for Los Angeles, USA last week to officiate at the International Cricket Council or ICC World Cricket League Division 4 competition.
The opportunity to officiate in an advanced setting came a month after Lakani Oala and Alu Kapa were officiated to umpire in the ICC I-Cup and the World Cricket League Championship matches between the Hebo PNG Barramundis and Namibia last month. Oala and Kapa were the only two umpires selected in the 2016 ICC Affiliates Umpires Panel, which includes some of the best 35 umpires in the affiliate countries. This also includes a number of umpires from the full member cricket countries. They are part of the umpiring team that are currently officiating the ICC World Cricket League Championship Division 4 matches in the US. There is a total of 6 teams including Bermuda, Denmark, Italy, Jersey, Oman and host USA, whose matches will be officiated by the duo and others. The two men, who have vast experience umpiring on home soil, now make their debut internationally representing the East Asia Pacific region. Oala and Kapa said they look forward to bring back everything they have learnt and contribute to building cricket in PNG. Dini Rose Raiko, National EMTV Sports.
Today marks 11 days before the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup kicks off at the Sir John Guy Stadium, and the so-called football fever is gaining momentum in the nation's capital, with selected communities around Port Moresby turned out in different colours today, representing the 16 teams that will be participating in the World Cup at the Ella Beach Amphitheatre.
Fans from different communities turned up at the Ella Beach Amphitheatre today to showcase their adopted nation colours with their supporters' outfit and the chants. It is evident in major roads around the city, even in venues. The FIFA Under-20 World Cup flyers and the billboards reminds everyone in Port Moresby and even travellers passing through the nation's capital. Whether you're taking part or just spectating, this global event draws near with every passing minute. This group of fans were tasked to build a hype and have been practicing their theme chants tirelessly for more than 3 weeks and turned out today to showcase their efforts.
I'm excited straight lo sabot. As a team, I'm picking excited straight lo sabot team team. Soccer team, I'm picking lo.
The field is on the Brazil. So we do it on the field. Brazil.
For the host nation, well, one would have thought their fans would have outnumbered the other adopted nations, but it turned out they were less in number. Could it be a decoy?
All back yet. We have more than 100 all back. Mama host team here. Now me play by cam one time. All get me play Carlong and me play by cam. By play cam with the force. By play cam with the sing out. By play cam with the walk right from play. You play talk.
Yes.
Me play mama ground.
The field is on fire. We don't need no Brazil, no Spain, no others. Who are we? PNG. Who are we? PNG.
16 countries representing 16 nations, including Papua New Guinea, will be out in full numbers to get behind their adopted nation teams come November 13th, when the world focuses attentions to Papua New Guinea for the 8th edition of one of FIFA's prestigious event, the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup 2016. Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
Football fans now have access to buying tickets at selected supermarket outlets in Port Moresby and Lae. Today, local organizing committee of the 2016 FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup released their affordable ticket prices, which will be on sale at Rapid Phones outlets at Waterfront, Barocco Food World, Vision City and Zero City Supermarket in Lae. With the objective of ensuring all stadiums are packed for every game, the tickets range from 2 kina, with the most expensive seat in the stadium valued at 50 kina. The tournament will kick off at 4 p.m. when Korea DPR takes on Sweden, followed by the host country Papua New Guinea taking on Brazil at 7 p.m. Chukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Chukai Sports.
Welcome back to Chukai Sports. With only 5 weeks to the Under-18 Oceania Basketball Championships, the PNG Under-18 team is using the Tarama Aquatic Center for their training 2 days a week. Chief Executive Officer for PNG Basketball Federation, Joel Kalu, says this will be the first regional tournament the team will attend for the first time, with the championship to be held in Fiji.
Chief Executive Officer Joel Kalu said the PNG Under-18 men's and women's teams have been going through vigorous training at the Aquatic Indoor Center in preparations for their first Oceania Championships in Fiji. He says since the selection from the Under-18 National Championships in Port Moresby, the Federation has consistently improved, focusing on the development of junior players. Many of these players who are already performing to a senior level will find themselves representing their individual provinces in the PNG Games next year.
All of the selected players to each team of 10 are in town. There are some shadow players training as well. Not all of the shadow players are here, but that was always going to be part of it. It was always a team of 10s. We wanted to try and get in Moresby for as much training as possible. Right now, both teams are training 4 times a week, so basketball-specific training is Monday nights and Saturday mornings, and then strength and conditioning is Tuesday and Thursday afternoons. So players are really getting exposed to some high-level training.
He says the Under-17 National Championships will be organised to get top players for next year's Oceania Championships. He says another point of interest next year for the basketball PNG is also getting their senior players back into training for their international championships.
But right now our focus is on doing as well as we can in Fiji. And as I said, our goal is a top 4 finish. So if we can come back back to PNG with some medals, it'll be a huge achievement.
The PNG Under-17 will hold the national championships next year in order to make selections for the Under-17 Oceania Championships and Under-15 Oceania Championships that PNG will play host to in 2018. Godwin Eki, National EMTV Sports.
And that ends Chukai Sports. The weather details when we come back.
Chukai Sports. Chukai Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Your weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow: in the southern region, cloudy periods in Port Moresby, chances of showers in Kerema, fine weather in Daru, a shower or two in Alotau, and mostly fine in Popondetta. In the Momasi region, few showers in Ley, thundery showers in Medang, and thundery rain showers in Wewak and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, mostly fine in all centres. And in the Highlands region, some showers in all centres.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
Before we go, Almandin piped Heartbreak City in a thrilling finish to the Melbourne Cup, giving Australian owner Lloyd Williams a record 5th win.
It was a second cup triumph for local trainer Robert Hickmott, who nursed Almandin back to racing health after 18 months out following a tendon injury after acquiring the 7-year-old gelding in Germany. McAvoy, who won his first Melbourne Cup with Brew in 2000, got Almandin home from the Tony Martin-trained Irish stare Heartbreak City, ridden by Hong Kong-based Brazilian jockey João Moreira. In Port Moresby, the hype surrounding the race had been infectious. Punters gathering at different locations around the nation's capital, dressing up for the big event as well.
Enjoy an afternoon of fun-filled racing in Port Moresby and to check out the fashion parade, and I'm really excited to see some of the local designers.
My name is Ari Hamilton. I'm visiting from Beijing.
Some faring much better than others. German import Almandin won a thrilling sprint to the line to claim the 15.2 million kina Melbourne Cup at Flemington Racecourse today. The 7-year-old gelding trained by the gelding emerged at the final turn to haul in Heartbreak City in the grueling 2-mile handicap.
Elmandin putting his nose in front of Heartbreak City. They hit the line. Elmandin won it by a very narrow margin from Heartbreak City. 5 lengths away was Huntnell third.
Almandin has given owner Lloyd Williams a record 5th Melbourne Cup, the race closest to the retired businessman's heart. Jeremy Moggy, National TV News.
Now recapping our main stories for tonight. Government presents tight budget, 400 million kina for polls, and funding levels to provinces to continue. And that has been the news for tonight, Tuesday, 1st of November 2016. On behalf of the entire EMTV News team, I'm Helen Sear. Pleasant viewing. Good night.